Hello and welcome to Joker Arkham Asylum, everyone. This is a bit of an unusual game from 2009. This was actually the first attempt from Rocksteady team, and they wanted to take the story of Batman Miko in a new, bold direction by instead having the villain as the protagonist and Batman being, the antagonist in this. It's a very, striking decision, as you can see.
Now hold tight, Patsy. I'll have you back at the asylum post-haste. And then Gotham can finally rest knowing that this madman is behind bars.
Wow, Joker, who knew defeating the Batman would be as easy as finding the typewriter and altering the script?
Ah, look at that. We even have Scarface as the director, voiced by Mark Hamill as well.
But can't I have been at least your number 3 guy?
See, they even managed to capture Commissioner Gordon, Dr. Young, and Sharpie. Don't worry, I'm sure Dr. Crane has everything under control.
Just got to check your prisoner, dear.
Whatever. Just be he's not looking too good.
No, he's not. We really should feel sorry for him. He never fully got over his parents'
I mean, he's not wrong.
Quite insane. What is going on inside your head, Wayne? He's gone. Just a twisted shell of a man.
It's very
Kevin
interesting
Conroy
here,
screaming like a madman.
To hear Kevin Conroy like that.
Ready, come on, Mr. J, we're ready.
I've waited a long time for this, Bats.
Do we? Oh, okay.
Wait, Tio, you were supposed to move the analog stick in time.
Wait, which one? The middle?
Yes, of course, the middle
stick.
stick that's on every PS3 controller.
Are you implying that I should play with a Nintendo 64 controller? Because I sure the hell don't want to do that.
Tio, you're playing as the Joker. Of course you're playing as something as insane as the N64 controller.
The fuck? I can't. Oh no, not Batman RAP. That's a very confusing story. I mean, I love Grant Morrison, but holy shit, sometimes reading the stuff, written for that era is a pain. So Batman gets to see himself do quite a couple of things. Not sure what the models were rigged towards, but they're rigged mostly to be the same as the more, lunatic patients, the one that you found, in the place where you found Harley Quinn. Including,
unironically,
everyone's favorite, specifically from Frank Miller, as you're about to see.
Oh god,
the
here
eating
we
of
go.
a rodent. I'm sure Dick Grayson H12 would be so proud.
You know what's funny? This is essentially what modders would later do oh so commonly with games.
Alright, next, third round against Scarecrow. Let's see if we can manage to pull this off again, shall we? It's interesting to see that, the toxin is actually getting to Bruce a bit more, because now his genuine fear in this case is not anymore having to remember once again about his parents, but literally about his villains, winning and taking over completely the asylum and him not being able to do anything. That is a bit more understandable as a reaction to the pure toxin.
I think it's also a matter of the case of him being feared of being seen as the madman, while the villains are seen as the good guys, which there have been some weird eras of Gotham where that has kind of been the case,
Yeah.
sort of.
Also, yeah, in the
Also-
meantime, you get to hear Mark Hamill as the puppet Scarface, so there is a reason why you like that. Just to mention that the entire Arkham staff is being rebranded using the inmates. Also, I'm pretty sure the physics effect was not supposed to do that for the bricks. So.
Almost every patient sent to him, and boasts empty beds in all his wards.
Well, at least someone's having fun.
Jokers wanna have fun.
Ah, the good times we have while Bruce have been tortured on the electric chair. Jesus.
Remember when Victor Sass almost fried that guy alive?
I was gonna say, for a second there, was the composer just sat on the keyboard for a second there?
It's in order to create the tension, Dweebs. But again, it really begs the question. Okay, they had the Green Mile section in, you know, the more intense, not intensity treatment, but in the section where Harley Quinn was, because that was where Poison Ivy was. But apparently they had the electric chair in the intensity treatment unity, which, you know, kind of puts things into, you know, more with the case the fact that they had an electric chair. Unless that was supposed to be shock therapy, which is not that much better, but it still makes you wonder.
I'm wondering if maybe just Joker rearranged the whole setup at that point, maybe, by the time they had taken over.
I mean, it's also still the fact that, you know, Arkham Asylum has an electric chair for some kind. So it really makes you wonder what they were going to do to Jean Laurie, I think that was her name. I forgot it. Ray Palmer's ex-wife.
Oh yeah, Jean Loring.
More
if I recall correctly, yeah, didn't she?
Here's what was happening, but we're not done just yet.
What demons do you have left to eat? Shall we see?
So instead of actually using the vaccine, you're unfortunately forced to actually go for an extra round. Thankfully, it's not any more stealth, but combat surviving. You need basically to survive 3 rounds so that the Scarecrow will be baited by the 3 vaccines that are here.
You know, given that we've just established, since Batman was almost strangling Crane after shining the Batlight on him, that whatever's going on in the real world, Batman's sneaking around with Crane, so what's happening right now?
We will see right after we defeat Scarecrow what was actually happening, believe it or not. So, because you probably forgot.
Might be...
Don't worry, you'll see.
You're fighting back. Good. It can only weaken your resolve.
Oh, Jean Loring, who would later kind of become a supervillain because of Eclipso, yeah.
Eclipso Diamond. Again, it's worth noting that before Identity Crisis, I think Jean Loring was just fine of a character, but they decided to randomly turn her into a psychopath mass murderer just because she wanted to spend more time with her husband Ray Palmer, and ever since she basically did not recover.
And she did it in the worst ways possible. Ray probably would have been just fine getting together with her again. Didn't need to pull off that needlessly overly elaborate stupid scheme, which of course went pear-shaped. Also, wait, I just love how Arkham apparently does do some executions, and yet somehow, of course, they've never done that for the Joker.
Alright, here we go.
Observe. And let the there be light!
Doing this.
Because I'm Batman?
Yeah, because he's Batman.
Insane.
Okay, yeah, we were fighting mooks at that time.
We were fighting mooks around the air, including a Titan, you know, enhanced mook. How did we do that?
You need us as much as we need you. And to prove it,
Crane, that's Joker's job to try and be convincing Batman he's as crazy as you guys.
Gotham for 100
Well, we
years.
still cannot allow the tear gas to reach the sewers of Gotham, so let's...
Yeah, thanks for telling us your plans there, Crane.
I love that the Batarang power icon was just a mook knocked down.
You get what you pay for.
And the best part is
Sorry.
that we were doing that in the same corridor where I got, you know, when I inhaled the toxins first. Everything was just down there. Batman, I guess, was going back and forth.
So yeah, basically Crane's going to try and pull a Batman Begins, poison the water supply, and basically flood the whole area and potentially Gotham City with this beer toxin.
Mm-hmm. Again, these... From the get-go, these games were trying to take inspiration from the Nolan movies, but not as much as the later ones. Anyway, here's
Some people are like,
Aaron Cash's family photo. And,
hook up with relatives, ha ha ha. Yeah, like, you know, they were slightly doing it. It was at a point, though, where they still kept the classic Batman aesthetic. You know, it was more so the tone and some of the properties from the Nolan films were coming in, but it wouldn't be until after Dark Knight where suddenly we'd start to see a lot more changes in visuals. Most notably Brian Azzarello's Joker, which definitely seems to be taking cues from Heath Ledger's Joker in terms of looks.
according to the alpha footage that's circulating around, and the modding community restored some of them with alternate costumes, the look of the characters and particularly the bat symbol was supposed to be more directly tied to the animated series. So people speculate that this Regiment was supposed to be a tie-in more directly connected to that, which wouldn't surprise me.
It also should be noted that, say what you will about how good or bad that game was, Batman Vengeance, the Batman animated series game of the time, does have a lot of design cues that this game seems to evolve on, like the whole apprehending and beating up criminals, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely toned down on some stuff, like the bat cuffs always being needed to permanently subdue a criminal, thankfully, but I can definitely see some takes here. Shoot, even some of the boss fights, arguably, too. Like, we got Poison Ivy, Mr. Freeze, Joker, of course, the works. Also, I love Batman Vengeance because it's one of those plots where the game starts off with the idea that Joker is actually truly dead near the start of the game.
Uh-huh.
Complete with Harley mourning and everything. I think it's revealed that he left her in the dark on the plan.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
the details.
no.
Honestly, the two games around that era that I remember more are Dark Tomorrow and Rise of Sinsu.
Oh god, Rise of Sinsu. I just remember
Dark
that
Tomorrow is
being
worse,
kind
so
of being...
don't worry. Rise of Sinsu is just boring.
That's what I was gonna say. I just remember Rise of Sinsu being boring, which... Yeah, you're alright, Dark Tomorrow's worse, especially with that arbitrary means to get the proper ending. Like, get this, Wibs, if you don't do something very specific, you get this weird bad ending that ends with the world being destroyed and Batman falling to his knees and giving Darth Vader no. Like, you know, that's one thing I noticed in a lot of Batman games. I get the feeling people just can't visualize Batman failing, so his death cries always seem so wonky in games because it just feels weird that you're even dying as him. Which, yeah, reminder, if I recall correctly, I think starting with City, they more or less did away with Batman having death screams.
He still has them, but they're more subdued. It's more of a, like, kind of, you know, fatigue.
Distraction for the bat. Suits me fine. What do you mean?
Oh, I guess that's where they get the meat for Killer Croc.
He's not bothering us. And we may just get out of here in one piece.
Good plan.
Should we actually let them?
No.
Nope.
It's the only way to defeat rock and roll.
Wait, but I don't even like rock and roll! Ow!
Pigs from a gun.
Never forget, Batman's parents died as they passed by a rock and roll concert, and it was Christmas.
So stupid.
I'm trying to remember any other major retcons that have occurred with the Waynes'
Not that I
death.
remember immediately, but again, there's that nightmare sequence that Batman has in Batman vs. Aliens #2, where he recovers the death of his parents as by the hand of a face hugger, and it's hilarious.
Oh God, please tell me he doesn't envision his mother giving birth to a new alien brother as a result.
No. Of course, in the intensity treatment you do get in the sewers you get the ones for Killer Croc. Okay, that achievement popping up, that shouldn't have happened, because I did 100% on my first run, the Reader trophies. That achievement just didn't pop up back then, so it did now.
Steam occasionally has these weird sections where if they don't detect an achievement, they'll show them later when they do detect them.
Yeah, no, it's not that.
Too late, Batman. One step closer, and this goes into the water. The
No, Bruce, you could use your claw right now.
Bat claw, grappling hook, line launcher, batarang, just saying.
The line launcher will run the risk of the thing to run into the water,
but yeah, the bat claw definitely.
Thankfully, Killer Croc is here to almost eat his face. And that's the scarecrow out of the game, basically.
Depending on if you get a certain ending or not.
Yeah, don't worry, we'll mention when we get to the end. For now, this is just basically the way of you to get to Killer Croc. Because
so yeah, Killer Croc kind of saved the day there. Thanks, Waylon.
He almost ate the guy, and apparently Batman could not allow that to happen.
So, should Killer Croc be the hero now?
You know, funnily enough, he's actually one of the legit good guys in Absolute Batman.
Well, that's because Absolute Batman wants to go full dark thick and say that Bruce and a lot of the people who will become his rogues gallery grew up in the same orphanage. Yes, they actually went there.
It actually works surprisingly.
The only one who didn't is the Joker, but that's because the Joker in the Absolute universe is unique.
Oh, I will say this. The Absolute verse is interesting. When it was first announced, I'll admit I was one of the many who thought, oh god, this just looks like needlessly edgy stuff. But surprisingly, there is a method to their madness.
Alright, so how are we gonna do this?
He's in some kind of old sewer network. Send me the schematics. It's like a maze down here.
There's nothing on record. Bruce, are you sure about this? Sounds like a suicide mission.
I've got no
Don't most of my missions sound like that?
So here's how it's worked. We need to collect the samples. For now, Batman is just planting his traditional gambit that will pay off by the end of a mission. Don't worry. And we need to actually follow the GPS in order to reach the Venom plants. But here's the thing. Yummy. The entire network is covered with these wooden planks. If you run on them, you will produce too much sound and the Croc will detect you. You're supposed to walk very slowly. Or you can just do this. The game will make sure that you cannot really spam this kind of maneuver to get to your destination, and you'll see soon in a second, but it immensely helps you even if the game doesn't tell you right away about it.
Boy, must have been really fun for the employees who had to come down and get Croc up.
Clearly. Like, what did they use? Electrified prongs?
We do find out, well, he does have a shock collar, which Batman did use, and that comes in handy.
Basically, at random intervals, Croc will just pop up, and you need to use the Batarang to activate the shock collar, because otherwise, it will insta-kill you. That's basically your gist of a boss fight against him. You're basically in a particular stealth mission, and you cannot allow to have your guard fall down as a result, because as you can see, he's, kind of like Ridley's Smash, a tad too big to be direct.
Which is funny because he actually does get a boss fight proper in Origins.
Well, yeah, mostly because we're going with a gimmick of, growth, and by the time of Origins, not only Croc is, smaller than he is now, but Bruce is a bit more violent. This will come into a head in Arkham Knight, but by that point, Batman is more accustomed, like more experienced, and he's not alone. So the game provides a good reason for a boss fight.
Like you said before, I do appreciate how Arkham Knight did acknowledge Origins despite almost everyone else disregarding it, essentially, and even incorporating it into Knight as the culmination of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Which just makes Origins' exclusion on collections all the more baffling.
I really don't understand either. Like, maybe there's an internal politics thing we don't know, and Warner Bros. Montreal is just really not particularly liked inside the company. I don't know.
It's like, Origins got, like, sure, maybe a bit of mixed reception, but I wouldn't call it like it was absolutely hated, and people seem to have come around on it, so it's not even like it's something for WB to be ashamed of. Like, okay, the thing I do remember the most is, most people did point out, it did feel like it was reusing assets a lot, notably, which...
Yeah,
I mean, fair beans,
but honestly,
I feel like it used them well and uniquely enough.
I'm one of those people that basically, if the game needs fun, then yeah, why shouldn't you get more of it? Like,
exactly, yeah. It was just this weird stigma people had. I think the thing is, some people were expecting a completely new, fresh adventure for Origins.
I mean, it still kind of is, because you don't really enter the same locations where you did in City. Yes, the overworld map has a lot of similarities to it, but you only enter in, like, the only building that is shared between the two in which you enter is the steel mill. And even then, you do visit different parts of it.
Croc, if at first you don't succeed, you keep on trying, I know, but maybe you should change up the game plan. Even though there's perfectly good meat you could be having,
listen,
but no.
It's either this or throwing a rock, and I don't really see any one of those around.
Fair enough.
Speaking of which, I did talk about the Batman Doom total conversion towards the beginning. As mentioned by CV11, there is a bit of a magic Doom, code magic activating that, because the boss fight that you get against Killer Croc is very unique in a sense that he does throw rocks at you. As in, the model literally arrives to a rock, picks it up, and throws it at you. Except, nothing theoretically in Doom should make things work like that. So it's essentially the devs pulling a bit of a magic trick by combining a couple of the existing enemies' attacks in Doom to simulate that effect. It's actually a great kind of illusion pulled off. It kind of makes sense that the people who made that total conversion are now a proper team, I forgot their name, and they're still making games to this very day.
Good for them, honestly.
Yeah, good for them. Anyways, you can see now you're gonna start having things shaken up by Croc trying to destroy the platforms. In that occasion, you can actually run because he's alerted of your presence anyway. You need to wait until he stops. It's a really thing about pace. If anything, the only one thing that I can say is that, as you can see, the sexual outstances welcome a bit too much potentially.
Yeah. Like, I'll admit, for as much as I wish we could have gotten a proper Killer Croc boss fight, I do like how they at least do kind of change it up for Croc. But I will agree this section does start to drag a bit.
It's also the thing, you're almost done, as you can see, with collecting the spores, which is bizarre, because, as you can see, every time Batman just drops an entire fucking, piece of a plant, you would think that you can get a lot more spores out of it, but no, arbitrary for the win.
Now, don't you see, he needs every little microbe he can get to develop an antidote, because I guess Titan is just that complex.
But the thing is that, as you're about to see, after he's done collecting the samples, he will need to go all the way back to the entrance, and as you're about to see, it's not gonna be, a quick journey.
I'm guessing the reason they do this is because, look, unlike most of the villains who you interact with and run into several times, as far as gameplay goes, this is like your one major sequence with Croc.
There you go.
Oracle, I'm getting out of here.
What about Croc?
But
He won't
no, I'm gonna get out of here. Hi. Hi. Did the comic-wise Batman ever had a crossover with Inspector Gadget? Don't think so.
Let me check.
I mean, he had a crossover with Spawn, the Punisher, Captain America, and the Darkness, but I don't really think he ever did with especially because I don't really think Inspector Gadget had all the comics to begin with.
Yeah, nope, no crossover. So, yeah, Batman's crossed over with Sonic before he's crossed over with Inspector Gadget.
I mean, fair enough. Like I said, I think when it came to licensed products, I think Sonic did had an edge when it comes to, having comic adaptations.
Also, I wonder how mad Dedge is that the crossover kind of suggested that Sonic actually can outspeed the Speed Force.
I mean, I can see why. Compared to how in the Marvel crossovers, it was pretty clear that Barry was faster than Quicksilver because of the science tied to his powers. I can see why Sonic would outspeed him.
And look, Barry's the fastest man alive, but Sonic is the fastest thing alive.
I'm more concerned by the fact that in the more recent, crossover that the two properties had, Lex Luthor spends the night with Rouge the Bat, and Eggman conversely with Catwoman. Yes, the punchline is that both of the girls managed to use that excuse to extort information from the villains, but goddamn.
Like, Eggman, I guess, has game, since going off of the adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, sexy women have a tendency to be attracted to him, most notably with Catella.
I mean, who are we to judge, I guess?
And as for Lex, well, it's just his equivalent of Joker telling Batman there are no laws against the Pokemon. There are no laws against the Mobian Superman.
Did he ever had a thing with Cheetah at one point?
I know there was that time Cheetah flirted with Batman, but as for Lex, I don't recall that.
There was that moment in Public Enemies where he just kisses Amanda Waller for no good reason.
He was high on some kryptonite injections, but something about how I think it was like some Adam and Eve nonsense here. He was out whacked of his mind. Anyway, let me check.
Shit. Alright, now that you're reaching the end, it's time to go Crash Bandicoot.
Now, as far as I can see, Lex has never had a thing with Cheetah.
Cannot really picture Kevin Conroy having to say whoa in any way, but it's not a Keanu Reeves.
God. It's really funny to think that while we worship Keanu Reeves now, there was definitely a time where he was seen more as a joke in cinema than
here's
anything.
where the explosive gel comes into play. Now we just need to wait the right moment. Because Croc thinks that you're being cornered, but of course, as Bruce said, he thinks more like a beast, so we just needed the right track. Clever.
He'll be fine.
Barbara, let us never speak of this again, please.
You did what with my daughter?
No, this is not the animated Killer Joke adaptation, please. Don't worry.
I mean, sadly, also going off of that one picture we see in Batman Beyond. Ugh.
Bruce's team had weird priorities when it came to shipping. Like, wasn't there a scene where not even implied, pretty much more or less confirmed that Harley Quinn, spent a night with Dick Grayson.
That was
Nightwing.
in. That was the Batman and Harley Quinn movie. I don't know if that's canon to the DCAU. Like, it uses its art style, but I don't know if it's actually canon to it. But God, yeah, for some reason, someone thought, yes, let's have Nightwing and Harley Quinn hook up. I don't get it.
Me neither.
I will say this. Batman ships for me have always been something of a tenuous thing. Not that I don't support them, it's just that a lot of his most popular ones kind of involve him kind of having to throw away his morality because of dad ass, essentially. Most notably with Selena Kyle, essentially. Now, mind you, to be fair, more recent iterations have definitely had her toned down on the crime, or at least have her keeping her thieving to people who absolutely have it coming.
More of a Robin Hood kind of thing, yes.
There are some weird times where she will relapse, or that god-awful event where for some reason it was Selena's turn to try and go, actually, you can't stop crime, you just need to control it, and God, that split up the Bat family for some reason. More at 11, essentially. But, I can maybe be fine with Batman and Selena. What I am absolutely not okay with is Batman and Talia. Okay, even if we're ignoring the retcon as to how Damian was born,
which I don't really like as a character.
Which, okay, to be fair, some people have pointed out that was something Grant Morrison retconned in since originally.
I know, it's not really like a case of, writer immunity or anything.
That being said, that is still screwed up, like, what she did and how Damian was born. Like, it's good that Damian's turned out to be a good character in the long run, but I hate how a lot of people tend to forget that, but okay.
Also, between Damian and Jason Todd, how many Robins do they have to be screwed up by the Lazarus Pit and the League of Assassins?
Dogs, they only respond to discipline. And if that fails, then I was afraid that these...
Also, Tio, for your delight, in the Injustice comic, it turns out there's another secret child that Talia has that happens to also be Bruce's daughter.
Lovely. The Injustice comic has the same amount of, insufferability as the story of the games. We get a scene where Kyle Rayner was killed in the middle of space by Sinestro removing his ring quietly, where, he shouldn't be able to do that, but...
Like, the Injustice I feel the Injustice comics were fine enough when they were just acting as a prequel to the games, but then they eventually had to stretch out into something that was like, I guess, a whole expansion on the mythos in general.
Anyway, tune in for the next part where Batman hopefully manages to synthesize the antidote. See ya.
Lovely.
See ya.